Welcome everybody. Welcome to the SPADE Info Day 3, which is related to the livestock case study integration. Your presenter for today will be Mr. Kostas Davarakis from NSST. So, Mr. Kostas, please feel free to join and present.
Thank you very much, David. I will start by mentioning that the livestock pilot for the SPADE project has now two different thematic areas for the current open call. What we are starting to present is the first one, which refers to virtual fencing applications for livestock grazing management. So in brief, what we are having today to present is in fact the Horizon Project SPADE, which opens a second open call. Things that relate to the main project, I'm sure that you can find in the related information base. Just a briefing intro regarding this approach for the livestock. Livestock is one of the three areas that SPADE is piloting outcomes. This specific call addresses the livestock pilot, specific open with, is to organize a dynamic virtual fence thresholding application targeted for grazing management through existing commercial modules, which is the SPADE livestock platform and the Parrot and AFI USA drone. Plus wearable animal collars for extracting relevant information regarding the position and the behavior of the flock. When indeed you do have some questions more focused, perhaps after the information day, do not hesitate to send us a question directly in the mentioned address. So going forward, the implementation, this specific thematic area that we are presenting today is a sort of an innovation implementation action, where you will see perhaps in the second thematic area that it's more of a research and innovation thematic area, the second one that we will be presenting later on. So this one revolves around the integration of UAVs, animal collar transceivers, and the already up and running SPADE livestock platform. And this is going to organize an ecosystem that hopefully will create a dynamic real-time livestock monitoring system. And the system will manage virtual fences coming out from this open call, which would need to collect data on trespassing events and provide alerts and insights for farm operators. This will be tested and validated in real-world conditions, which will ensure robustness and reliability. The SPADE livestock platform, we will use the acronym SLP from now on, will serve as the central software hub for managing and analyzing data from the UAVs and from the animal collars. The hardware to be used as a testing UAV platform, Parrot and AFI USA will be used. It's a commercial drone. This device has a full SDK support and a software simulator. It has already been used successfully during the first open call. So we have already a baseline that will be provided to the second open call contractors for information from knowledge building. When the actual hardware will be demanded, for example, for the final testing, demonstration, and validation, the SPADE partners will organize a boot camp in the city of Thessaloniki in Greece, and will provide the UAV platform for the open call to contractors to integrate, adapt, and deal with any open issues reasons at that point. Animal collar transceivers will be provided unless the OpenCall 2 contractors wish to deploy their own, but this has to be in agreement with the SPADE livestock platform and SPADE pilot partners. Right, following through this OpenCall, the software will be provided by SPADE as far as the software modules and subsystems, including those coming out from the first set of software delivered from the OpenCall 1. That's what I've just mentioned a while ago, especially regarding integration of the virtual fence thresholding application with the SLP, with the SPADE livestock platform, access to the SLP pilot environment will be provided to the OpenCall 2 contractors for achieving monitoring of livestock trespassing, defining dynamic virtual fences, and collecting relevant data regarding trespassing events. For the sensor integration, if the contractors require additional sensors or sensor controllers to achieve the requested application, they need to provide own test sensor devices and solutions. As already mentioned, we will need to agree upon before integrating. As you have already followed, I believe, the information day regarding open source, in this thematic domain also, the output virtual fence thresholding application will need to be compliant with the open source demand determined in the SPADE OpenCall directive. Regarding completion criteria, the contractors will be asked to fully comply with the need to work in harmony with any hardware required by SPADE, which is the UAV. You already mentioned commercial UAV that we use in livestock, collar transceivers, etc. The expected outcome needs to be a robust subsystem capable of monitoring livestock movements, detecting trespassing events, collecting valuable data for real-time decision-making and long-term analysis. And we expect that to be at the level of readiness TRL6. A fluid integration of any third-party components and the SPADE livestock platform will be the cornerstone acceptance criterion. So you need to provide a solution that is going to work in synergy and in harmony with the SLP. The functional performance, TRL6, of the delivered application for managing dynamic virtual fences, as well as a full-scale validation at real-world conditions, will be the final acceptance criterion for this thematic area. To complete the project, we will have to evaluate that based on the successful development and testing of a prototype that implements user scenarios where virtual fences are used to monitor livestock trespassing. These scenarios will include monitoring grazing animals, grazing land thresholding, drones flying along a virtual fencing zone, and the developing of machine learning datasets and storing them on the SLP. So developing of datasets, that would only mean covering the first three scenarios with storing the footage recorded by the UAV, and for each flight mission refer to the footage as a dataset collected during that specific flight mission. That's a simple dataset. It's not something that you need to annotate. Access to a livestock farm is necessary to carry out the testing phase effectively. The solution should be validated against user scenarios that will be defined during the design document deliverable stage, which is the starting project milestone. The design document will be developed in agreement to the OpenCall 2 supervisors, which is the SPADE pilot members, and is a mandatory step that, unless reached, the project cannot continue. This is something that I'm going to mention again in the following slides, but it's an important step that you need to know when applying to this specific thematic domain. A brief look to the scenarios. The first one, as we mentioned, is the monitoring grazing animals opposite crossing virtual fences. This is, of course, the hardware required, wearable devices, in addition to the UAV, of course, and the software to be developed. Reads software that will need to read data from the sensors, transmit data to the SLP via the MQTT protocol, and check cross trespassings for the virtual fence defined. The second scenario, grazing land detection and thresholding. Again, we have the parrot, that's the UAV to be used, and the software to be developed, access the UAV camera, thresholding automatically grazing land areas, and transmitting the grazing land virtual fencing mapping layer data and metadata to the SLP, again via the MQTT protocol. And of course, checking the trespassing incidents opposite the virtual fence already defined. The third one, flying along a virtual fence zone, you need, of course, the parrot to test the area that you have to fly along. User-defined fences, that's software to be easily managed and developed. You have to provide waypoints to the UAV to fly along the user-defined fences, detect animal trespassing while flying along the virtual defined fences. So it's incidents observed during the flight, and you need to use only the camera for these trespassing events and not the collars. And finally, again, trespassing incidents mentioned on a land-based laptop service, presenting grazing land virtual fencing mapping data layer and metadata in real-time video streaming, while the UAV streams the video footage to the SLP. And finally, transmit trespassing events, UAV telemetry data and metadata transmitted to the SLP via the MQTT protocol. And finally, the extraction of the data sets. As mentioned, these are data sets that refer to the footage that you capture during your flight along the area, the thresholding area that you have defined. So you use the UAV camera, you provide the UAV flight routes on the virtual flight route, on the fences that you define. You provide an appropriate annotation environment on land-based laptop service, and then you just record the footage and transmit it and store it on the SLP. Dataset integration of at least the following. So when you provide this dataset, you just need to integrate dataset from wearable devices, dataset from the UAVs, and dataset from the trespassing incidents using the scenario we just mentioned, scenario D. The final integrated output dataset will be fed, as mentioned already, to the SLP, and you need to timestamp synchronize the footage with the wearable collar devices, the UAV camera, and any output produced by existing ML algorithms that would be provided by the SPADE platforms. You don't need to develop any machine learning tools, but you need to utilize the existing tools that the SPADE project has developed. That's the analysis, and just briefly, a final formulation of the project roadmap. These are the 6 months you have in front of you. This is the very critical month where we both cooperate and you devise a development design document. We have a very frequent set of technical meetings so that we agree upon the development stages that you have to define. And once this is achieved, then we are very sure that the following steps will come fluently. We have seen that in the first open call adventure, which is quite successful as soon as we reach this position. The next steps will come in month 3 and month 6, and these are the deliverables that we need you to develop. I will not go into the detail now. If you have questions on the details of each of those deliverables, please send us specific questions. Focused questions will receive focused answers. This is the description of the deliverables and an initial report. a landscape detection and virtual fence setup with waypoint tracking and UAV flight control document, a grazing area thresholding and monitoring with parallel land SDK and sky controller document, and the interim report, the overall interim report, which will also clear your first funding from this contract. And then on your final month 6, another deliverable, technical deliverable, real world testing and validation, which needs to happen on a real environment that we will provide you, as mentioned, with the organization of a boot camp at Thessaloniki. Final report on the fulfillment of KPIs for the final review. What we didn't mention, but we implied, the set of KPIs for achieving performance targets will be part of the design and development document that you will have to develop and co-develop with SPADE. And we have to agree upon this document, which is very valuable, and this is why I'm mentioning it again. Practical technical coordination steps, that's the final slide. On granting the contract, there will be a technical meeting with the SPADE technical partners, where all work package and milestones and tools will be discussed. It's not only this information day, but once you achieve to get the contract, you will have quality time with the SPADE technical partners to understand what is needed here in this very focused innovation, action implementation open call. Second one is that second issue is that wearable collars and the UAV SDK will be provided by the SPADE partners, and you will have that during your 6 months development cycle. Software solutions need to be agreed by technical partners in written form. This is why we will be having this design and development document finalized by the end of month 1. The acceptance or not of this document can effectively either stop the project if we don't agree, and if we don't find a line of action that is effectively beneficial for the SPADE project and for the impact created from the SPADE project. We will have to deny the implementation of the whole contract. Otherwise, the project will provide you a green light for implementation, and you will start implementation. During the whole contract duration, there can be bi-weekly technical meetings called upon either yourselves, the open call to contractors, or SPADE. Apart from the contracted milestones that we just mentioned a few slides before, the SPADE partners may request extra meetings and or status presentations, including software beta versions. That's something that SPADE may require during the process of this contract implementation. That's it. I think that it was quite analytic. If you need, again, any more clarification, do not hesitate to write us a message. Thank you very much for attending. Back to you, David.
Thank you, Costas. Thank you for this complete presentation. I don't think we have any questions, but anyhow, let's wait 2 minutes. Maybe the applicants want to ask you something. Meanwhile, Nikki, you want to share something?
Hello, David. No, I don't have any further comments according to the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki, as well. How Costa said, for each challenge we have three. We have the interim report, the initial report, the interim report, and the final report. Also, during this session, I want to let you know that we will have two payments. one, after you submit the interim report, the first payment will be half of the total funding, and you will receive somewhere in the month 4, and the other half of the funding will be received in month 7 after you deliver us the final report. So, like you to know, also the call is closed on 26th of May, so you have plenty